Hi everybody and welcome to David's Garage. Today I am going to be doing not an unboxing, but I just purchased some boots off of eBay, so this will be my initial impressions. And today I'm going to be looking at the Thursday Heritage Captains, and this is in their rustic brown leather. So here they are. Here are the boots. This is the new flagship model, it seems, from Thursday Boots. If you know Thursday Boot Company, they've been around for quite a while, maybe about a decade or so. I'm not exactly sure when they were started, but they're really well known for having really affordable boots, decent quality. Their boots, they're made in Leon, Mexico, but they're an American boot company. Their flagship model is the Captain boot, which is a Capto heritage boot or Capto service style boot. And this boot is a collaboration with Rose Anvil that they did. It released at the beginning of 2025. So this boot is the answer to the Rose Anvil effect, where he started cutting apart boots and shoes and started really looking at the internal components, looking at the pros and cons of synthetic components versus more natural components like leather, cork. So this boot was really built to offer people a really affordable boot with lots of high quality materials. So if you guys have Thursday boots, or if you guys don't have Thursday boots, let me know, what are your thoughts of Thursday boots? This is actually my first pair of Thursday boots. The other pair of Thursday boots that I purchased were for my wife. So why did I purchase these boots? Well, I purchased them off of eBay because they looked like they were in pretty good condition, and they were basically like more than $70 off of the original price. So I was like, you know what? I will give these boots a shot. They're in my size. They look like they're in good condition. I want to be able to bring you guys updates and bring you guys comparisons of these boots, just like I bought the Iron Ranger, because I really want to make videos about it, comparing it. That's why I got these. So let's see, what does their website say? So Thursday Boots website, they say that this leather is rustic brown. They call it a pull-up leather. They do say that it's 270-degree Goodyear weld construction. They say that the insoles are vachetta leather, and they say there is a leather shank, leather heel counter, and a leather toe box reinforcement. And if you've ever seen the video by Beto's Leatherworks where he actually takes apart the Brawler boot, which was a collab with Karl Morawski, he actually shows the leather shank they use, which when I saw that leather shank, I sort of it just made me really not interested in Thursday boots even more, because that leather shank was just absolutely pathetic. They call this sole, they call this outsole the Night Anti-Slip Durable Rubber Outsole, which I am not in love with the look and style of this outsole, but as I wear them more and more, who knows, my mind could change. They say it's a 25mm stacked leather heel. They say the tongue is fully gusseted. It comes with Kevlar laces and flat waxed cotton laces. The seller on eBay only gave me the flat cotton laces. And they say they're handcrafted with integrity. They do call the last the undeniable last, which is one of the parts where Rose Anvil really collaborated with Thursday to try and get the fit and feel of the last right. We already talked about Thursday, now let's talk about this leather. So they call this leather rustic brown, they call it a pull-up leather. I'm assuming that this leather comes from the Lafargue Tannery in Leon, Mexico, because these boots are made in Leon, Mexico, and I know that Thursday they do get quite a bit of their leathers from Lafargue Tannery, so I think this might be a Lafargue leather. You can see there is a little bit of pull up when I'm pushing on the inside of the boots. But yeah, I like this rustic brown leather because I just think it had a really nice brown color to it. It looks very comparable to the Amber Harness leather by Red Wing. It's got a nice temper to it. Definitely doesn't feel as thick or as stiff as that Amber Harness leather. Definitely feels a little bit thinner, a little bit more malleable. They also don't specify if it's a chrome tan leather or a veg tan leather, so I'm almost positive that most, if not all, of Lafargue Tannery's leathers are chrome tan, and maybe some of them are a combination tan, so this could be a combination tan, but because it's sort of in the same style and color as the amber harness, you know, my gut tells me that this is a chrome tan leather. Maybe it's an oil retan leather, but it's definitely most likely a chrome tan leather with maybe some veg retan or some oil retan. If you guys know any more information on this leather, you know, let me know down in the comments below. Okay, so this leather looks just over 2.3 millimeters thick. So definitely a good amount of thickness, very decent. I think 2.5 millimeters is the sweet spot, so it's just under that, so it's not bad. Okay, now let's talk about this last, the undeniable last. Kind of a silly name for a last, but whatever. I guess the main changes were the toe box is not as pointy as the, you know, traditional Captain boot. Definitely has a taller toe box. It's definitely got more volume. They gave it this chunkier style, sort of in the same vein as like an Iron Ranger, but obviously you can tell it's not as bulbous. Doesn't have that distinct Iron Ranger shape. Looks a little bit wider in the waist. Definitely you can see it's got a really long, wide, oval shaped toe box that really goes into the waist. And then looks like it's definitely got a good amount of width on the heel. So maybe trying to accommodate more unique and wider foot shapes and sizes. So we'll see how that fits. So this is a 270-degree Goodyear welt construction. You can see there's the welt here. Starts right there, goes around, ends right there. And 270-degree Goodyear welt construction. I think really the main reason why most bootmakers do that is just so that way the heel is just sleeker looking. It's not as chunky looking. Otherwise, you would have like this lip, like on the front of this boot, you'd have a lip here. All right, so let's talk about this outsole. So here is this new outsole that Thursday has been putting on a lot of their new releases. I guess this is their attempt at making a sleeker, more universal looking outsole that they can really slap on all of their new releases. I don't love it. I mean, it definitely has a sleeker silhouette from the side view, but I don't know. We'll see how this outsole holds up, how the traction is, but I'll let you guys know what I think when I do an update on these. I already talked about the leather shank. This leather shank is here to give this boot support right under this area. This tongue is fully gusseted. Here, let's take a closer look. So one of the things that I saw mentioned on the new Thursday Black Label boots is they have holes at the bottom of this gusset. I do not see any holes. Open up this leather. No. Nope. Looks like they did a pretty decent job with this gusset. I don't see any holes at the bottom. And you can see it's gusseted up until, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So just under the 6th eyelet. So basically right under this speed hook. That's how high that gusset goes up, which is not bad. That's actually really nice. I like that. The tongue leather definitely feels thinner and more malleable. This hardware actually is really nice. Definitely feels good quality. Feels like the same or similar to like the strength of like the speed hooks that like Parkhurst uses, that Red Wing uses. So it looks like they have a smooth backing, so they won't dig too much into this tongue leather. So that's nice. You can see they have it's a true cap toe. So there's actually 2 layers of leather on this cap toe. There looks like three rows of stitching right there on the cap toe. They got 3 rows of stitching here from the quarters to the vamp. They got 2 rows of stitching going on this single piece backstay and the quarters. You can see there's the internal counter cover right there. They do have a veg tan insole, and then I can feel this is like a full leather sock liner that covers the whole insole. And then they do have leather lining in the toe vamp, and then no lining on the quarters, which is nice. I prefer that. I don't like lining on my quarters. So you can see here, this heel has been a point of controversy. I do not like it. Why? I don't know why they're obsessed with putting just such a hard angle on their leather heel stack. I mean, when I see this, I'm just not in love. I'm just not impressed with their designs. I'm wondering like, hey, why are they doing that? I mean, they can explain it away all they want, but that's just my opinion. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I will bring you guys updates on this and let you know what I think about this. But here, let's just measure this. So at the front of the heel, it looks like the heel from the top to the very bottom is just about 1/2 inch tall. And then if we measure towards the back of the boot, the heel from the very top, so from the bottom of this outsole to the very bottom, this heel is 1 inch tall. So it goes from 1/2 inch to a 1 inch heel from the front to the back. And also, you know, if you watch Yushu's channel, he did make a video on these recently. And he made a good point where he talked about how wide this, or how long this heel is. And yeah, I guess it definitely does look like it goes pretty far up to the boot, whereas, you know, heels are usually like maybe the back quarter. So this heel is, it looks like it's about 4 inches long. So yeah, maybe that is pretty long. All right, and then let's measure this midsole. That looks like it's a 5mm midsole. Looks like it's over 5 millimeters thick. So that is a very thick midsole. Let's measure the height of the boot. So from the inside of the boot, the height is just under 5.5 inches tall. If we measure from the outside, oh, looks like it is exactly 6 inches tall. Also, remember they said that they have a leather heel counter and toe stiffener. So let's discuss my overall impressions on the build quality and the finishing. Well, you know, the finishing is actually not bad. Like for Thursday's prices, I think Thursday's finishing is actually good. These boots do seem to have been beaten up a little bit. Lots of scuff marks. The outsole though still has tons of tread on it still, so it still looks like it's in really great shape. These are my first Thursday boots because they were used on eBay, good condition, good price. I figured, okay, I'll buy them, I'll give people updates, I'll compare them with other boots that I have and make more videos on my channel with them. Me being someone who just loves high quality boots, high quality leathers, I'm always gonna choose something else over Thursday. So let's try these on. I'll give you guys my opinion on the fit, and then, you know, that'll be it. And then maybe down the road, I will bring you guys more updates, more comparison videos on these boots. Yeah, these fit perfectly. So these are a size 10, and on Thursday's website, I believe they recommend going down half a size from your true to size. So I'm a 10.5D on the Brannick device. So I wear a 10D in Iron Rangers, 10 in Truman boots. I wear 10 Parkhurst boots, and yeah, these fit me perfectly. It's definitely not the roomiest last in terms of like sizing. Actually, in terms of like length and width, it's like perfect. I feel like I could not go any smaller than this. There is not really too much like leeway. So if I got in a smaller size, these would be way too tight. But as a size 10, these fit me really nicely. You know, the waist doesn't feel too wide, the heel doesn't feel too wide. I lace these up nice and tight. And yeah, I think these got a really nice shape in terms of like length and width. So not bad. And for volume, they feel fine. They're definitely not too slim or sleek, and I don't feel like the toe box like pressing on like my instep or pressing on my toes. So that's good. How is the heel? You know, I can feel like almost like a little like bump or arch just in front of my heel. So the arch for me at least is not in the best spot, but I don't feel like I'm sliding in these boots. But yeah, I think, you know, we'll see how these feel. They're not the most comfortable. I think that, who knows, maybe if I wear them more and more and more, and let's see how this footbread breaks in. Let's see how this leather shank holds up, and I'll bring you guys an update on, you know, how they're holding up and what I really think of the comfort down the line. Do I have any concerns? You know, really no concerns. You know, this is, if anything, I'm hoping that, you know, this is a really good quality boot and they hold up, and, you know, when I do my updates or if I do any comparison videos, I hope that, you know, I end up loving these boots. So that's everything I have for you guys today. I really do appreciate your time. If you guys are a fan of Thursday boots, or if you guys are not fans of Thursday boots, or if you guys have the Heritage Captain boots, you know, let me know what your experience has been. Let me know what comparisons you want to see. Otherwise, I appreciate your time. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I will see you on the next video.